You're listening to The Andres Segovia Show.
And welcome to the program, everyone. I am Andres, the honest broker, delivering you the news as often as I can and as pertinent as of the news that is, because there's so much news happening all over the industries that are related to what I do and that affect those of you in your income too, regarding this crisis that we are dealing with. This one, though, is more on the lines of the fear-mongering that I'm trying to rebuttal. So it's not exactly debunking real estate myths, but it's also a rebuttal against a Forbes article that I found a little egregious because it's by an individual contributor named Jesse Colombo. And he wrote an article on Forbes. This was on March 31st. It says, why U.S. housing bubble 2.0 is about to burst. The arguments he's laying out is why he believes it is at risk of bursting in the recession that we are already likely in. He's been warning about the U.S. bubble 2.0. He says it's a result of the Fed's extremely stimulative monetary policies in the past decade, namely zero rate policy and quantitative easing. Using big words here. The Great Recession was largely caused by the bursting of the mid-2000 housing bubble and the damage it caused in the U.S. financial and banking system. As a quick fix to end the recession and create another economic boom, the Fed simply reinflated housing prices. According to the Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index, housing prices have soared by 59% since their bottom in 2012. Like nearly all artificial booms, U.S. housing bubble 2.0 has inflated faster than the underlying fundamentals. He has all these charts showing what supposedly all this is. One form of shenanigans that occurred during Housing 2.0 is the fact that many Airbnb superhosts bought scores of properties with cheap mortgages for the purposes of renting out. The coronavirus pandemic has now put these over-leveraged superhosts in extreme jeopardy. In addition to the housing market grinding to a halt because of prospective homeowners face difficulty actually viewing houses that are for sale during this pandemic, the extreme job market uncertainty and unemployment rate has come back with a vengeance in just March 2020 alone. According to one recent Fed estimate, job losses could total 47 million, while the unemployment rate may hit 32%. Truly depression figures, forget about recession. I'm very concerned that the frothy U.S. housing market will be forced to come back to planet Earth very soon, which will drag the overall economy down even more. And that's basically the gist of it. There's two graphs that are here and some Twitter post that he embedded that I just skipped over since this is an audio version of things. First thing, first things first. This guy's an economic analyst and Forbes contributor who warns about bubbles and future financial crises. In other words, it's his job to scare you. That's literally what it says. And according to this, he was the age 22 in the year 2008. He was warning about the housing and credit bubble as a university student when he bought a website called stockmarketcrash.net. So that means he was too young to really care about or remember the actual housing bubbles that have happened during his lifetime even. We had the savings and loan crash in the 80s. Look, I'm not that much older than this guy. I'm only 35. First off, it's wrong. It would be housing bubble 3.0. So he's already wrong on that account. Housing bubble 1.0 crash happened in the 90s. The second one was the one he's referencing that happened 10 years ago. And he's expecting this to be the third one. And as someone who's just reading charts and not reading the data behind those charts, yes, I'm calling you out, Jesse, on this one. Because as a real estate professional, I am on the trenches of all this. Take California, for example, Jesse. When you have almost half of the property purchased in California, even up to a year ago, in all cash, how do those properties crash the market when they devalue? How can the bank collect on those houses if there are no mortgages attached to it? When you see who brought up the prices, it wasn't the Fed adjusting the housing prices. They don't adjust the housing prices. So you could be an analyst all you want, but unless you're in the trenches, you'll see for yourself. when you have that many houses that were bought in cash at astronomical figures, banks can't collect on that. Now, does that mean we're not going to have prices affected? Absolutely, they'll be affected. But you're trying to take credit that, oh, yes, I predicted it was going to happen because it was meant to happen. Yeah, you predicted the coronavirus outbreak. You predicted the entire economy of not just the United States, but the world over to come to a halt because of an unseen foe. No, I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to give you that, oh, I was warning about this in summer last year. Dude, all you had to do was be right once. And your job is to just make predictions about bubbles all around. It's like, I'm reading the data. Look, here it is. Yeah, a weatherman can be right too. But they're not always right either. So no, this is called fear-mongering bull. I hate it when these pieces come out and then they get depressed all over the place because it was printed in Forbes. You're a contributor. Good for you. But it's that kind of sensationalism that causes harm to the very industry that you're railing about. So yeah, it's bull. It's for all, just like everybody that's just on the hysteria side of the coronavirus or the novel coronavirus or COVID-19, just the same principles. Everybody just on the hysteria side instead of having cool, calm, collected heads and complying with whatever we can do to help our fellow American. Only the negative. That's exactly what this article is. I hate this article. I hate that people even do stuff like this because I'm tripping over my words. Disincentivizes people from even contributing. Housing is the only one that can get us out of this mess. And here is how. This article comes from the National Association of Home Builders with an eye on housing. This was April 2nd. The title is How Housing Building Can Lead to Recovery by Generating Jobs. The article published updated, this is regarding a recent NAHB article that illustrates the role of home building that can play in a recovery by generating jobs. The new estimates show that building an average single-family home generates 2.9 jobs, measured in full-time equivalents, enough work to keep one worker employed for a year. Wages and profits are subject to the variety of taxes and fees. So this article breaks down everything with prices and all the industries that are basically benefited by house building. All industries that are involved. This is just for the building of one single family home, okay? That includes construction, manufacturing, trade, transportation, and warehousing, finance and insurance, real estate and rental and leasing, professional, management and administrative services, and even others. We're talking about all these jobs that can come in for just one house. The tables show that in industries like construction and real estate, substantial revenue is generated to support for business proprietors. Included in this category are many construction subcontractors and real estate brokers with relatively modest incomes who are organized as independent contractors and therefore not technically counted among the jobs in government accounting systems. In summary, home building generates jobs in industries like construction and manufacturing jobs for highly educated professionals like engineers and financiers and revenue to support owners of small businesses like construction trade contractors. This is an attractive mix of entities to support in a healthy national economy, especially during a period of recovery. And in dealing with what we're dealing with now, folks, we're going to need this more than ever. And it's the kind of crap that someone just spends their entire day. Oh, how can I fearmonger someone today? How can I destroy an industry today? This Jesse Colombo just writing a bunch of bull to scare you out of investing in real estate because you're going to lose everything. Look, this is absolute bull. The reality is, yes, we have unemployment. Will we have record unemployment? We have record unemployment. People will be affected, which is why all of us have to come together, to work together, to get through this, and then eventually get out of this for the recovery that we all want to get out. That's the light at the end of the tunnel, not the bull that this guy's trying to pile on during a time of pandemonium. So no, I hate this article. I just absolutely hate it. I'm not even going to link to it, but because I'm an honest guy, I will leave the link in the show notes accompanying this episode at www.theandresegovia.com. For those of you that are interested in learning more about real estate, consult with me directly. You can go to my business website, which is www.segoviares.com, and you can set up a consultation with me to find out how real estate can help you, especially during this time of crisis. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Andre Segovia Show. I will see you on the next one.